Detective John Harper, having served the wealthy Dalton family loyally for years, was hit hard by the rude and abusive behavior of the new head of the family, Alexander Dalton. Despite the stark contrast to his father, Charles Dalton, whom John had admired and respected, John stayed out of loyalty. However, when Alexander viciously denied him help for his sick daughter, something inside John snapped. That night, as he watched his daughter struggle with her illness, John's frustration and helplessness turned into determination. The hatred and disrespect he faced at the hands of Alexander made him realize that his loyalty was being exploited. As the dawn broke, an idea began to take shape, forming the basis of a new plan that could change his circumstances. John knew he had valuable skills and experience, and he started contemplating using them not just in service of the Daltons, but for his own good and that of his daughter. His plan wasn't fully formed yet, but the gears were in motion for a significant change. John began to think about reaching out to his contacts, possibly starting something on his own, where he could have control and no longer be at the mercy of others' whims. As John pondered these thoughts, his resolve strengthened. He was still under the roof of the Daltons, still performing his duties, but now with a new perspective. He wasn't just going to be a passive participant in his life anymore. John was planning, thinking, and preparing for the day when he could make a move to secure a better future for himself and his daughter. John reached out to two of his old friends from his days in the police secret intelligence department, Justin and Frank. Both were highly skilled in their jobs, known not only for helping citizens, but also for their ability to leverage their power when needed. John laid everything out to them, explaining his plan to teach Alexander a lesson he wouldn't forget. He provided a blueprint of the Dalton estate, detailing all the security measures, which he knew intimately. Together, they crafted a meticulous plan. John took a sick leave the next day, staying in his room, but in reality, he was busy disabling the sensors at the gate. At around 1 a.m., when the estate finally quieted down and the lights went out, John slipped out of his room and headed to the guardroom. There, he acted unusually friendly, cracking jokes and laughing hysterically. The guards, thinking he was drunk, let their guard down as they tried to assist him. That was when Justin and Frank, who had been lying in wait, struck from behind, knocking the guards out cold. They quickly tied them up in the guard room and changed to their uniforms. The next obstacle was the guard dogs. John knew exactly how to handle this. He fed them food laced with a sedative, and within minutes the dogs were asleep. With the dogs out, the trio moved swiftly across the large lawn and reached the doorstep of the mansion. Their next challenge was the CCTV cameras in the control room upstairs. Mark, pretending to be a supervisor, went up and called the guards to the room. They initially mistook him for a real supervisor, but as they entered the control room, one guard grew suspicious and tried to identify him. Reacting quickly, Mark pulled out his pistol and subdued the guard with a hit to the head before the other could react. He then shot the second guard, ensuring there was no immediate threat. He quickly tied them up and turned off the cameras. With the security system disabled, Mark unlocked the door, signaling to John and Frank that it was time to move in. Once inside the mansion, John, Justin, and Frank quickly dispersed, knowing they had only 15 minutes before the next security patrol would become suspicious. They focused their search on the main room, where John was certain a secret safe was hidden. However, the exact location eluded him. They scoured the room, growing increasingly weary as the minutes ticked away. With only 5 minutes left, Justin suggested that rich people often hide safes behind unusual features in libraries, like odd books or peculiar wall clocks. Fueling their renewed urgency, they intensified their search until John spotted an antique wall clock that seemed slightly out of place. He pressed a small cradle hidden within the clock's design, and to their relief, a panel slid open, revealing the safe. The safe required a 4-digit code. Their first 2 attempts to crack the code failed, heightening the tension. Knowing they were running out of time, Justin recalled a pattern he noticed earlier in the day, the date of Mr. Dalton's birthday. Deciding to take a chance, they entered the birth date as the code, and to their amazement, the safe clicked open. Inside, they found 2 boxes that they quickly determined contained money based on their weight and size. They replaced the boxes with objects of identical weight to avoid immediate detection and closed the safe. However, as they turned to leave, the alarm unexpectedly rang out. They were too late. Justin grabbed the 2 boxes and dashed downstairs, while John and Frank tried to find another way out. But it wasn't long before they were surrounded by security guards, guns pointed directly at them. Both men surrendered immediately. Alexander appeared, slow clapping as he approached. With a smug look, he revealed that he had suspected John of theft and had been setting a trap for him. "I knew you were a thief, John. You scammed my father, and luckily for me, you were caught red-handed," Alexander taunted. In a burst of anger, John tried to punch Alexander, but he was swiftly shot down by a nearby guard. The two guards then searched him, finding only a necklace. Alexander laughed scornfully at John's apparent small-mindedness, then turned his attention to Frank. He ordered the guards to beat him before handing him over to the police. Frank ended up in jail after their failed heist, while Justin managed to hide until everyone left the mansion. Since everyone disliked Alexander, no one really checked thoroughly whether anything was stolen or if anyone else was involved in the incident. Carefully, Justin crept out from where he was hiding and sneaked into the kitchen. Here he left the gas running, a risky move to create a distraction. Quietly, he made his way out through the back door, trying to escape over the wall. Just as he thought he was clear, a guard spotted him. Thinking on his feet, Justin pretended he was a security guard, still in uniform, which made the real guard hesitate for a moment. Using this to his advantage, Justin quickly knocked the guard out, climbed over the wall, and ran for it. Once safe at home, Justin opened the boxes he had taken from the safe. One box contained gold and jewels. The other was filled with papers that detailed Alexander's criminal activities. Shocked by what he found, Justin wasted no time. He called a reporter to share the findings about Alexander's crimes. Meanwhile, the gas Justin left open back at the mansion caused an explosion when Alexander turned on a fan the next morning. The mansion was enwrapped in flames. As the fire destroyed the mansion, the reporter Justin contacted was publishing the story exposing Alexander's criminal empire. The fallout from the exposé was swift and severe. The news that Alexander was running a drug operation from under everyone's noses rocked the community. The government stepped in to offer compensation and aid to the mansion staff, who had been traumatized and exploited under Alexander's rule. Justin used some of the stolen money to pay for the medical treatment of John's daughter, fulfilling John's final wish to see his family cared for. He also set aside a portion to aid Frank's family while Frank served his prison sentence. Despite the tragedy of the fire and John's sacrifice, Justin made sure that those who had suffered because of the Dalton family's misdeeds received some form of justice and support. His actions not only brought down a criminal, but also helped mend the lives of several innocent people caught in the crossfire.